This is the first function we will work on, which is line differential. The first thing we will open is the application configuration. We will first look at the connections of the CTs and the differential block, and after that we will get into the test itself. The first thing I have is the signal matrix analog input, which the CTs connect to, meaning signal matrix analog input. If we come here to the manual of the signal matrix and simply inquire about it, it tells you that this block is a preprocessor function. Block analysis of the connected 4 analog signals means it takes the 3-phase of the current or voltage with their neutral and calculates all the relevant information from them, such as magnitude, phase angle, frequency, RMS, harmonics, sequence components like A0, negative, A and positive sequence, and so on. You can access the block of the CT hub or the 6 current or the transformer dual, or the 6 current or the 6 current or the transformer dual. We have 6 corners and 6 voltages, so we take the channels in series, low phase, red and yellow, and the block can normally support the naming, normally naming the terminal that was present here, originally a geographical drawing key. You can input the red, yellow, blue, and neutral, and on the other side, it provides you with information about the red, yellow, blue, and neutral, and the AIN, the calculated residual current from the set of televisions. You have AI3P. The idea here is that this output becomes a string number, and as I told you before, it takes the analog and shows you all the information about the group and angle. All right? So the idea here is that this output becomes, as he told you a little while ago, it takes this stack and it gives you all the information on magnitude and angle and the. The AI3P is a group of information about the 3 phases together, the magnitude, the frequency, and the phase shift between them. This is what I need more to decide to connect it to whom, to the differential block. Nice. I will have another small piece of information. First, if you have a block and you don't want to create a block on this function, you go to the common signals page and you will find here a block called fixed signals. And there is a block called fixed signals. The fixed signals block is like the one I need for the off and on, which are fixed 0 and fixed 1 Boolean numbers. This is the force and for whom. The true, and I also need the group of this, just like the SRB exactly. It is a string number, group of 3 things, and its comma is always 0, all right? And here you have the real 0, which is the real number. How much does the comma equal? The comma equals 0, all right? All right, so here I brought to the block, what did I put? I put false DFT SPFC, which is the number of samples in the fundamental cycle. What's its story, and what's the story of the SPF cloud? Look, if you go into the settings here, you brought to the block itself in the parameter setting, you'll find from the first 2, which we will still talk about, it tells you the first thing is the connection type, so you tell it system neutral. Do you want to negate it or not? So, of course, we leave it off. The minimum frequency major, we set it to 10% or it equals by default, meaning every time. To calculate the frequency, it's 10% of the U base. The U base for you set it to 132 kilo. Okay, your number 1 choice, which you chose as 1, means voltage, 2 means current, meaning ball. Okay? So what's the story above? The story above for us as protection is that we will always work with internal DFT reference. Is that clear? What does internal DFT reference mean? It means that you take your frequency reference from E, the frequency U, set above in the power system, which is the 60 Hertz, which is your internal frequency. Now, do you have other options or do you have other options? There are many things that we will see what all these things mean, and there are many things that we will see what all these things mean, and we will see what all these things mean. And we will see what all these things mean, and we will see what all these things mean, and we will see what all these things mean, and we will see what all these things mean, and we will see what all these things mean. Where you will find but this is for the single files or setting, while all the other blocks you will find just have the word DFT reference. DFT reference, which is the discrete Fourier transform, meaning you have the blocker always senses the criminal, and the criminal can read RMS and DFT. The difference between the two is that RMS will include the harmonics DC offset, sometimes always, but DFT tells you if the harmonics DC offset is sometimes always always. So the important thing in our story E is just the DFT reference. the word script free transform that makes the cushion on your block, which you got from the Internet DFT. The Internet DFT reference is what they use to cut the frequency present here, which is a real 60 Hertz frequency. Okay, nice. What does this DFT external output mean then? Look, Yasin. It tells you here that you have a signal matrix, Allegan-Bot 11, 22, and 33. You have something called group 1, group 2, and group 3 from the signal matrix Allegan-Bot. Okay, you have several groups. It tells you there's something used, but this is used only in power stations. But I will show you here, it's written as external. There was one here. Look here, it tells you that, and you don't have, well, I was confused because, as I told you, we are not working in, so what's the story? In technology and activating it, and who is using it internally? Because, as I mentioned, we are operating in a bar, it remains as a bar, it remains as a bar, it remains as a bar. It does something called frequency tracking, meaning based on the frequency it reads from inside, it will start to determine all the other blocks at the same frequency of the thing it was reading from inside. So what does it do here? It gives you an example here, saying that you have chosen a Cydia matrix, the log input one. This is, for example, your reference. And then the output here is for a specific frequency. This frequency produces a signal with the fundamental, which then enters as an input to the other blocks. These other blocks will perform back calculation on the current entering them here, or the voltages, or any other possibilities to benefit other protection functions. So it tells you here to assume in this upper part, the signal matrix unlock input 7 is connected, or you have chosen from its settings, it's the ADDFT reference channel 7. So what will it do here? Look, it says the signal matrix unlock input 7 in this task group is selected in the configuration to control the frequency tracking. Observe the selected reference instance. What will it do here? Look, sir, it said to you, what about our master, the school? He replied, mother of 7 religions. So the task group is calculated to descend. And observe the selected reference instance. It must be a major update for you to be tested on camp number 7, and it is an update camp number 7. You must be tested on camp number 7, you must be tested. On camp number 7, you must be tested on camp number 7, you must be tested on camp number 7, you must be tested on camp number 7. Deputy reference will say more about the output, more about the wonders from Deputy reference group 7, more about the wonders from Deputy reference group 7. In order to get the reference from the matrix prison input 7, which your code is accessing, and then to output its first here, the DFT reference of the block itself will also take from 7. As for the matrix from the first one, input 1 to input 7. Speed, this is Syria's name. From the matrix analog input 2, number 2 up to 12, number 12, which is considered for you as 2 up to here 12, I told you all of this. Will also take group 7. Matrix analog input, how many task groups are there? 2, which are the other blocks from 13 to 24. DFT reference is external because it takes from outside. And after that, when you set it to external, the properties will connect to the properties present here inside from the properties here. As I told you, it will connect the properties to the power station to take this block as a reference for the frequency that it will give to other blocks. This makes the block take from the properties. The 7th properties, you saw external reference as well. What is the external reference? No, it's not external, it's called the 7th properties. DFT reference group 7, these are what it takes, and then it outputs from here, entering it into the DFT SPFC and DFT SPFC here. So now, the discrete Fourier transform will depend on what? On the frequency that came to it from here. It outputs it like a pulse sample image with the fundamental frequency entering here. It understands what the frequency is and works based on it in its calculations. But as you understand, we don't need anything in this story. So you leave the Internet DFT and the Internet DFT. Therefore, if you want to put it with something, you might not connect it at all, meaning you can leave it empty. But it's okay. You can connect it, but you can't connect it to 1 and 0. I mean, you can't take it from here and connect it to what? To Fonts D. It will tell you that this connection is not the same as its source. So we connect it to what? To real 0. That's why I told you there are the 4 most important signals we have. The troop fonts real 0 and the group F. All right. Very nice. So in this story of mine about the matrix prison, your analog inbox, okay, now we want to focus on something else. If you click on your block and then click on properties here, you'll find that this block has a specific cycle time, right? Why am I telling you this in full? Because some people like to break everything down and start building this analog anew. So this has a specific cycle time. If you go to the block and click on it, you'll find it has a cycle time. You can't set this cycle time to 3 or choose it when you insert the block itself. It asks you to assign a cycle time. Like for example here, let's say at home, I say here, insert function block and basic aid, for example, and I said signal matrix analog input, for instance, insert, and it asks you to choose a cycle time of 1, 3, or 8. If you choose a different cycle time, you'll find that it doesn't accept it with you, or 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 it doesn't accept it with you. And everything is sent with you, but the K doesn't work. And we didn't see any free heat at all. And we didn't see any free heat at all. And we didn't see any free heat at all. I understand you. The cycle time of the session matrix at the beginning. So don't worry about it, because the person who built this configuration by default has already adjusted its cycle time with your function. Well, and this is here. Control F, here like this, here like this. It was present. Wait. Here are the application functions. It should be an exchange for resistance. Resistance with the process of the unified process as an application period, except for the control period that operates in the process quickly. All right, so it's tight. Make sure to pay attention to it, okay? Then we live in the differential. The differential now, for example, if you have a double passport single breaker, then you have only one set of cities. You use the signal matrix logimbo. You cut channel 1, 2, 3 on it, and you use the LDCM TRN, which is the line differential communication module transmit. There, you also put channel 1, 2, 3 on it to send them. What do you send them to on the other side? You put them on group 1. This is group 1, and this is group 2, and so on. To send them to the other side, you put them on group 1. This is group 1, sort, and this is group 2 below. At the same time, you receive from where you press right and press. Channel and between the remote for you. Any image I am a remote for you, and you choose from the LDCM and see which channel you are receiving from in the LDCM. The LDCM does not connect, of course, like that, so this is said to you and to whom, to those, look at the break, then go there. In the parameter setting, you say, well, here I am receiving group 1, and here I make it a redundant channel. Sorry, I am not receiving here. I am sending group 1 on the transfer current on 312, and in 312, what is the redundant channel? In 2012 and in 2013, it came to me. Because here you sent to group 1, not here, the block of LDCM TRN. You sent here to group 1, but you will go here in the settings and tell it. Here in 312 that I will send group 1, and 313 is a redundant channel. So if you come here and say 300, I will send here group 2. It doesn't see it because group 2 doesn't receive anything there originally. Okay, if you want to re-access, access. If you want to re-access, access. If you want to re-access. 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 You will tell me that there is also one part here, but there is no one part. First, I don't understand this matter. I understand that any option you choose here is not different for the channel, meaning you rely on both firewalls. So if there is one, for you, the differential is different, no one is important. So if you choose this, it is not different. You are choosing any option here that is not different. if you choose group 1, even though it is almost the same option, the key 12, you will tell me that I sent the same group to both, meaning one and the other see the same group. No, the relay doesn't understand it like that. The relay understands that if you choose any of these options except the redundant channel, it means you rely on both efforts. If one of them has a timing issue, it will block even if it is working. But be careful, it won't block it. It will block the differential. So what does that mean? If you set this to group 1 and it sits at 312, meaning you rely on the differential, then you are operating the sender on 313. And it goes normally, you understand me? The operation is working, but the differential will fall. Now, if you have our 312, and I am still saying, this is the first case we talked about. Now the key is you have a scheme. And I am still saying, let's see what we will do locally and what we will do remotely. How we will do it now. If you have this meeting called 1-on-1, how many solutions do you have? You have 3 solutions, nice. The first solution is that you come here in the application configuration, connect here, channel 1, 2, 3, and below here, 4, 5, 6. So you connected 1, which is the first city to group 1, and the second city you connected to whom? To group 2. And then you come here in the barometer settings and tell me that I will send group 1 to 312 and group 2 to 313. Okay, that's the first solution, but be careful if any one of them is scheduled. The second solution is the same connection, connecting the city of the bus to group 1 and the city of the other to group 2. You come here in 312 and tell me that I will send it summation here. And at that time, 313 will say it is redundant, but this is not preferable for LB. The third solution is that you combine the two outside, you will combine them, outside, you will combine them. Outside, you will combine them, 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 outside. You will combine them outside, and only one group will enter, or only one will enter. So you will take this set and put it, for example, on group 1 here only, and then come here in 312 and say, well, I will send this to group 1 and the other to 313. This is the last case I have. Or the first case is that you have group 1 on channel 1 and group 2 on channel 2, okay? But if one of them in its definition dies, the definition dies, okay? But I used to do it with a workaround. This is the local card. I will show you how I will perform the local current operation to teach you how I will perform the local current operation to teach you how I will perform the local current operation to teach you. This is from the test, yes. This takes your time.
Yes, most definitely. Zain.
You can take from here and put... Do you take single files? Do you take single files? Here it is, here it is, here it is. You can't do that. This takes the analog directly. You perform the local current so you don't enter the default.
You have 2 methods available for local current.
Are you following the things I brought up? You have 2 methods to perform the local current so you don't enter the default. What do I do with the local one? You have 2 methods. The first method is to download 4 signal matrices as solid, okay? Now, as for stabilizing our local current, I participate with it in the block of the Da Vinci. What will you do? Download 4 blocks. The first block will take channels 1, 2, and 3, and the second block channels 4, 5, and 6, which are your locals. Okay, you take 1, 2, and 3, and download another one, your brother. Okay, just one is enough? Just one. Channel 312, 1, 2, 3. Connect channel 313, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Connect differential protection, 4. Method, signal matrix, input, connect 1, 2, 3, another 4, 5, 6. When the differential protection connects to any 4 here, that's good. This was the method. The second method is that you take the signal matrix, heart input here. Connect to it channel 1 from 3 local, another 1, 4, 5, and 6. And then you bring down the block of the sandwich here, but also focus on this part. You come here like this, take the 3-phase sandwich. Check your cycle time as well. So what will you do with this sandwich? First, I take a group from the 3-phase. So you take this group, right? Output. And the second one, you also take, for example, another group like its brother. let's just assume we're making any temporary connection like this. Is that good? So you took the one for the bus and the one for the temporary connection here, but you still need to go to this one here. But of course it hasn't been brought down yet. Initially, what you need to do is simply come over to this specific location in the manner that I am demonstrating right now. It's important to follow these steps carefully to ensure everything is done correctly. Where did yours go exactly? You need to tell him that you need one group in exchange for another group. You need to tell him that you need one group in exchange for another group. You need to tell him that you need one group in exchange for another group. You need one group in exchange for a kilo, and put the internet here, FT. Okay, and the remote is the same thing. Either you take them with simple summation or what? Or I see that you can just go down, bring down the 4 buckets, no summation or anything else. It's 312 shillings, and you say sweep to enter them normally into the electronic prison. What's important is, okay, you can do summation. You bring them 312 shillings, no full shilling, nor are they tag shillings. No, because how many shillings do you have here? 8. The first one will be group 1, group 1, group 1, group 1, just red, yellow, blue, neutral. We don't get neutral, we only get red, just so you don't go down to 1.23. We only get neutral, we only get neutral, we only get neutral. You found with me that it doesn't even work with the same configuration.